Trade deadline winners and losers. It was sort of a quiet day of, but the lead up was absolutely not. So we're not talking about trade deadline day here. We're talking about the couple of weeks of madness that led up to this.
Like a month.
And we got winners and we got losers. And Steve and Jesse were arguing about whether or not you should be able to pick more than one winner and more than one loser.
I wanted to pick more than one. Let it be known.
I think we're just trying to keep the segment clean. So pick a winner.
Yeah. And somebody's got to be at the top.
Absolutely.
Somebody's actually got to win the winners.
Okay, so Jesse, who's your pick?
For the winners?
Yeah.
Who do you think?
The easiest question you've ever asked me. The New York Rangers, everybody.
They've
created, I don't know, 2018 Golden State Warriors of hockey.
It is
Whoa!
It's absurd what they've been able to do. Getting Tarasenko, getting Patrick Kane. It's
Didn't Golden State win before that?
Yeah.
It
so
feels
when
like
they
a
added
2019
Dwight-
Golden State Warriors because they're injured, though. This is the problem.
It's true. But I don't know. Chris Drury's in a position where it's just go for it time. And he's done the most to go for it. Like the Patrick Kane trade where you have Chicago just like he's coming here no matter what. Like we can get whatever we want for him. And they did it. And they got it done after there was that little stretch after the Tarasenko deal where Patrick Kane was dejected and didn't think he was going there. The fact that they came back and they got it done, like kudos to Drury for doing that. And then we go back to the Tarasenko deal originally, which came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody really expected it when it initially happened.
I was surprised.
Oh yeah, it caught everybody kind of off guard, and it was smart thinking to bolster that right side of the lineup, which was the only weak part of their forward group. And now you look at them, and they also threw in Tyler Mott, and you say, how is anybody going to beat these guys in the playoffs?
The Tarasenko and Kane trades are obviously the ones going to take up the most oxygen, but Tyler Mott in the playoffs is a guy that knows the New York Rangers system. Valuable catch.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, if you had told me the day that, I think if you had told Patrick Kane the day that the Rangers got Tarasenko, that they'd be getting Kane too, I think every Rangers fan would be tap dancing.
Oh yeah.
And
Just wait till they're able to ice a full lineup.
Mikola on the back end too, underrated piece of the deal when he came over. And so much focus all season long has been on the forward group and how amazing they are now, and how the defense and like Adam Fox is always Adam Fox, and Trouba's taking people's heads off, and Keandre Miller stepped up and taken another step this season. They also have Igor Shesterkin. No, we all forget Igor Shesterkin is also in net for this team. And
mid.
You know, team underperforms in the playoffs. Who cares?
More
you have
like-
Igor back there.
More like the mids in a.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the clear winner of this entire season so far and of the trade deadline is the
Whoever
New
wins the cup.
York
Yeah.
Rangers.
Igor Midshturkin. All right, Steve, who's your winner?
You guys might be shocked by this. I'm going to say the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's because they greatly exceeded my expectations.
What were your expectations, to be clear?
Well, we were talking about a Lafferty-McCabe deal and like maybe something smaller, right? We were talking about one or the other with a forward and a defender, and we were trying to talk ourselves into a situation where they could go out and get like maybe a Patrick Kane and Jake McCabe or something like that. And then they blow us out of the water with a Ryan O'Reilly trade out of nowhere. They go out and they get Ryan O'Reilly and Nola Chari, who's been just a wonderful fit for the Leafs, the both of them. And then, what a surprise, like a week later, they go out and do the deal that we thought they were going to do the entire time with Lafferty and McCabe. They get Achari and O'Reilly as pure rentals, greatly improving their forward group. They get Lafferty and McCabe as guys who are going to be part of their team going forward. Lafferty for next year, McCabe for the next 2 years at 50% retained as well, which is ridiculous. And then they had a 3-trade day. Not a huge fan of losing Sandin, but you do have a first-round pick you can play with. I guess you're going to have to play with it at the draft on account of you can't use it right now. You shed Cap and Pierre Engvall. In terms of a roster player, that's not an enormous loss, and I'm not fitting Sandin into there because he wasn't going to be a roster player. And then getting Luke Schenn, it improves the team, but the vibes are absolutely immaculate.
Well, for just the nostalgia factor of Luke Schenn is cool enough, but I have to tell you, against Calgary last night, it was nice to see a Maple Leafs defenseman making somebody pay for crashing the crease.
He hit Nazem Kadri. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but there was like, after the
was
whistle
that
goes, he's cross-checking, he's punching, whatever. And as Leaf fans, we've complained for years, hey, those cross-checks were illegal. but they never get called.
Yeah. No, might as
So
well get
what-
a guy who does them.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly.
I know you might roll your eyes. Oh, Steve picking the Leafs. You got to admit, I don't think anyone saw them adding this much.
I got to say, for me, the clear winner here is Boston. They are already
Not a bad
historically good. But Steve, when we talked about on the podcast, and I think some people get this and some people don't because they may have missed this particular segment, you said Boston's going to go out and get somebody named like, I don't know, Ross Boston. Explain what a Ross Boston is before I tell you why Boston's the winner.
A big, belligerent, pain in the ass who has an ability to score and cave your shit in. And they got 3 of those.
They got Tyler Bertuzzi, Garnet Hathaway, and Dmitry Orlov. I saw a tweet on about Hathaway and Marchand at practice just cheap-shotting each other, like jokingly.
Licking each other, spitting on each other.
They're shitty guys to play against. They suck.
Yeah.
Orlov was playing 22 minutes a night in Washington, and I think this will go into the losers category. But they almost had Kulikov. Orlov is worlds better than that guy. Worlds better. And he's going to add to their top 3, which already was
Gavrikov,
really good.
I think,
Sorry,
you mean.
Gavrikov.
Yeah.
Did I say Kulikov?
They might have been in on Kulikov as well.
No, Gavrikov is what I meant. The Orlov, adding him to your top 3, top 4 is spectacular.
Yeah,
Spectacular.
really, really good.
They always get that. You know what? I say this about Boston every freaking year. They go out and they get the guy for them. Rick Nash and remember that Rick Nash, Charlie Coyle year. Charlie Coyle's still there.
They acquired 2 huge pieces from a team we didn't even know was a seller until it happened.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay, let's go around the room with your trade deadline losers. Jesse Blake.
Based on points percentage, who is the number 1 team in the Western Conference?
No, Dallas?
The Vegas Golden Knights.
Still.
The Vegas Golden Knights, over this trade deadline period, acquired Ivan Barbashev, Teddy Bluger, and Jonathan Quick,
Wait.
50%
You
retained.
mispronounced it. Teddy Bluger from Riga, Latvia.
What a name.
You
What
know
a
that's
name.
not his real name.
What's his real name?
Fyodor Spluzhers.
Actually?
Yeah, he's from Latvia.
So you call him Teddy Bluger
Yeah.
because that's the anglicized version?
The whole thing started because he scored a goal against the Leafs, and I'm like, and his name's Teddy Bluger. He sounds like he could be quarterback for the Steelers. And I looked up where he was born, expecting him to be born in like the most American place, like some city I've never heard of.
Allegheny County.
Yeah.
In like some place in Vermont I've
Yeah.
never heard of. And he's from Riga.
Wow.
Because he changed his name because no one could pronounce his name. So he's like,
Wow.
Fyodor's Bluzers. They're like, you're Teddy Bluger now. And he's like, sure.
Okay.
Adam Wylde, what is a brand?
A brand?
Yes.
It's a promise
Latvian.
continually kept.
The Vegas Golden Knights promised us every year that they would go out and get the big fish, that they would make a splash, that they would trade all of their futures for something to make them great and go for the Stanley Cup every single season. And I'm more disappointed than saying that they lost this trade deadline. I'm disappointed in the Vegas Golden Knights for not going out and doing something more interesting than Barbashev, Bluger, and Quick.
Especially with Mark Stone down.
I thought when Mark Stone went out and hit up LTIR that it would open it up and that Vegas would be in on Timo Meyer, I don't know, Tarasenko, any of the big fish that are out there. I thought Besser, like they go out and just steal somebody and it'd be very unexpected. And they did none of that.
Is the quick trade purely for trolling? Like, is this just a really expensive meme?
Right. I think they just want extra goaltending help from a guy who hasn't been good all year long.
He's an 876, but these two might run into each other. Are they hoping for a goalie just purely powered by hate?
I don't know. I don't get it. And I was hoping that there would be a big splash from the Golden Knights. I'm going to say that they lost this trade deadline by not making a big splash and not committing to their brand.
I hate to say this about a guy that's done so much in the NHL, but Jonathan Quick is not NHL caliber anymore.
No.
His numbers prove that. I don't know why it's a head scratching trade. I get why Columbus did it because the salary thing and whatever, but Vegas didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Did you just do it to fuck with the Kings? Like what was the
That's
point?
what Steve was
It must
suggesting.
be.
Yeah.
It must be the only, and Quick does run hot.
Yeah. All they did,
Oh, yeah, very.
they swapped. Michael Hutchinson was the extra goalie in their organization, right?
and he's what?
So,
Fine.
Better than.
Oh, better than Quick.
yeah. So they
At
swapped.
this point in his career.
They swapped Michael Hutchinson for Jonathan Quick. They said, oh, this will be better to have. And then they threw in the 2025 7th. I don't know. I expected big things from Vegas, and they didn't deliver big things.
Steve,
Who's
who's
your
your
loser?
trade deadline loser?
Trade deadline loser. You know, I was talking about them before we saw their final trade because they were a team that did nothing. They weren't a buyer. They weren't a seller. They were just mid. And then they did make a trade that made them even more mid. It was the Calgary Flames. They've had a disaster week, a disaster couple weeks where, I mean, the vibes are awful, by the way, starting with the coach. Blake Coleman looked absolutely miserable after the loss to the Leafs yesterday. Julian McKenzie, by the way, asking a great question in the scrum. It was basically, are you sick of it? Followed by an extremely pregnant pause and a Blake Coleman that seemed to be out of answers. And then they go out and they do what? Like, I think they're in prime position to sell right now. They're 5 points out of a spot. It's games in hand. It's a problem. And they go out and they get Troy Stetcher, who I don't think makes their lineup, and Nick Ritchie, which is kind of cool because then he can play with his brother. Oh no, he can't because his brother's involved in the deal going back the other way.
Brett Ritchie.
What did I say?
No. I'm saying what his name is.
Brett Ritchie. Yeah. Sorry, I was like, did I get his name
wrong?
wrong?
No, you got it. You didn't say it.
And there was another player going back the other way.
Connor McKay.
McKay. So
McKee. I don't know.
Like what? I'm sorry.
What does Bobby McMahon bring to the Calgary Flames? Because he was also traded to the Calgary Flames.
I don't think so.
No. Who did the Leafs trade?
Dryden Hunt.
Dryden Hunt.
Yeah. You get them mixed up, but one is much better than the other.
Yeah.
What does Dryden Hunt bring to the Flames organization?
I like him. He can hustle. He's a grunt. But he's going to be a grunt for the Wranglers.
So he's not playing on the Flames.
The Calgary Flames are to me textbook ownership to management discord. And what I mean by that is if the rumors are to be believed, the coach is not the GM's coach. He's the owner's coach. And the GM, Brad Treliving, has been there like almost a decade, is on the last year of his deal. So he's a lame duck general manager. So as an owner, if you don't have him signed up and you're not thrilled with how the season went, even though he pulled fucking miracles off last summer, replacing Gaudreau and Tkachuk, you're probably like, well, I probably don't want to bring him back anyway. And so how many trades am I going to let him make? And so then, but the problem is that Calgary missed an opportunity, Steve, and I think, and this is where you were going with this, to sell.
To sell. I mean, or you could have bought sooner. You could have bought when this was starting to go off the rails about a month ago. Because, I mean, the Jets, who are also sort of not doing so well recently, they've gone 4-5-1 over their last 10, and the Calgary Flames have made up exactly 0 points. They have the exact same amount of points over their last 10, except they have fewer wins. They've just found ways to lose in overtime in the shootout more. Like, they might still end up making it. I don't really expect them to do anything.
The math doesn't math.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It's
and
also
played
patently
an
obvious.
extra game than the Jets as well.
Yeah.
It's obvious what's wrong with the Flames. They need to score goals.
I mean, I'm looking at the bottom three teams in terms of the playoff picture in the West. They're all Canadian. Edmonton Oilers, 74 points, plus 31 goal differential. Winnipeg Jets, 72 points, plus 22 goal differential. Calgary Flames, 67 points, plus 1. I know who my money's on.
Okay, my last, the last loser of the trade deadline, and don't worry, there's more than 3. But for me, it has to be the aimless, listless, pointless, what are you, Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, my God.
This franchise is unbelievable. Okay, so you traded Patrick Brown for a 6th rounder.
Mayor of Brampton.
You traded
Patrick Brown.
Zach McEwen to the Kings for Brendan Lemieux, who has 5 assists in 30-something games this year. What are you doing? Brendan Lemieux, 27 games. He's a -6, 3 assists. What? Did you get better? Did you get worse? You got nothing.
Anthony D'Angelo's friend.
Right.
Like, as I understand it.
And this is the thing. Like, listen, I know that Brendan Lemieux is known as like a tougher player. Is that what the Flyers need to do? They need to get tougher? No, they need to get better. And how do you get better? Well, you get a better spot in the draft, or you move some salaries out and you pull some prospects in. They did neither of those things.
How does this team have no 2nd-round picks and 1 1st-round pick?
They don't even have a 2nd-round pick next year.
No. Next 2 years. How?
I don't know. I don't know. And this is the thing. Like Eric Lindros was on our show the earlier this week. It's hard to believe. It feels like weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's got to be from the organization top down. What's Chuck? Where is Chuck? What are you doing?
The only thing
Where are you? What are you doing?
The only thing I'll defend about the Lemieux deal is they got a 5th in it.
Well, that's cool. That'll make up for the seconds they don't have.
Woo! That'll make up for all the picks they didn't get for JVR.
And that's the other thing. That deal falls apart at the last second. And let me ask you something. Like, why does that deal fall apart? Are you telling me that whatever Detroit had waiting, because I think they were going to flip JVR, you couldn't have got that? You didn't get one offer on JVR that was for like a 4th or a 5th?
Also,
get something.
To who? Flip him to who? Pittsburgh? Like, is that why you didn't want to make the deal? Like, what's going on?
It could have been a divisional matchup, you think? Like, they don't want to trade it
That's
to a
fine.
divisional
Who
rival?
cares? You're not in
You're
it.
not playing them.
You're not in it.
You're getting it anyway. You're getting the asset. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, the Flyers to me are it's Flyers and Canucks. They're the two teams in this league that I just do not understand. Mm-hmm. And the Flyers, if anybody says they do understand, it's because they're Chuck Fletcher.
Two teams with meddling ownership.
Yeah,
that's what.
In a season where you are completely rebuilding, where you're not going for it at all, it is inexcusable to come out of the trade deadline with a 6th, a 5th, and Brendan Lemieux, and that's it. Those 3 assets? Are you kidding me?
No, it's bad. Anyway, so listen, those are the trade deadline winners and losers. Here's what we want to know in the compliment section below.
Yes.
Hit us up with yours. Your team, how did they do? Are you happy? Are you pissed? Did they not do enough? Like, there's a lot of Leaf fans right now who are not happy.
Mm-hmm.
We got all our toys for Christmas, and we still want more.
Left wing and goalie.
That's right. That's right. So,
listen,
we'd love to know what you think.
Can't please everybody.
Well, or in the Flyers' case, anybody.
Or anybody.